Hello, I'm Bruce Zimmerman, and this is the Open Line Garden Show podcast for this week. We've attended the opening for the media of the David Braley and Nancy Gordon rock garden. Now, this rock garden is a remake of the old rock garden at the Royal Botanical Gardens, Hamilton, Burlington, however you want to call it. And the concept for this garden started out as a project for the Depression back in 1929, the initial, and it finished and was open in 1932. So it actually was a garden that has been around that long, in need of renovation, as you may think. Like all of us, when we get about 80 years old, we could be renovated as well. What they did was they put in approximately 42,000 plants. These are all new ones to rejuvenate a lot of the gardens. That would include 90 plus plant families, 240 genera, and of course 670 taxes as well. Now what they've done is they've made a route around the rock garden, wheelchair accessible. You can go down a little further and up and down, but I can tell you this: if you're in a wheelchair that's going to need to be pushed, you're going to need some help on some of the long rising paths, okay? Because there's a couple of the paths that are actually very long and very steep, and you're going to be doing some heavy pushing. Now, the original rock garden was done by T.B. McQuestion when he was on the Board of Parks, and T.B. McQuestion actually has a rose named after him, T.B. McQuestion, and there is a T.B. McQuestion rose garden at the T.B. McQuestion homestead, I believe, in Hamilton. I attended that opening way back in the dim dark ages, and the rose was bred and brought in and grown by White Rose Crafts and Nurseries. Now, the garden itself has been renovated, but what they've done is they've made the paths wider, more concrete, and making it easier for people to stop, take pictures, and other people to get around, or wheelchairs, etc., so that you can get in there and actually see the gardens in large volumes instead of trying to weave your way around a lot of people. They've put in a couple of nice bridges, and they work very well. The other part that I really liked about this garden is that the walls and some of the paths that are along the walls that you can walk, which are still soil, can actually still be accessed. So it is a redoing and still allows the memories. If you were one of those kids that climbed those paths and walked through the gardens, like myself, I didn't come to this garden until I was a little older, but I still enjoy climbing the walls and through the paths, and they're still there. So you're still going to see the forsythias, you're still going to see the Scots pine and the jack pines up around the top, but the whole sort of center bottom has been redone, grassed, also re-rocked, and the channels and the streams have actually been channelized so that they can be used for fountains and, of course, lights. Now the water can be reduced, the loss of water that way as well. So they're using less water, and at the same time they have greater control of the flow of water and water levels. Now the garden design was done with the help of Janet Rosenberg Associates, and you're going to get a lot of stone staircases with her and her designs. So most of the stone staircases are what I would call rough washed limestone, and as a result they're not perfectly smooth. So make sure you have comfortable shoes You don't want high heels or small heels. You want more of a hiking, running shoe, solid base, a type of shoe to walk this garden. The interpretive center is up above, and there's offices in the old tea house and some sort of like a little museum of what it was, and etc., and pictures. So it's good. There is a lot of access within the garden to the washrooms as well, both up in the rock house plus also down where the old tea garden was. So that is always a good thing as well. There's a lot of good vistas that you can actually take pictures from up above and across and down into the garden. It's very, very pretty. When I was in there, the spring bulbs were in effect, and so it is actually quite pretty as well. The grass was already green, the bulbs were up, the trees were breaking leaf, and doing very, very well. Now, the rock garden certainly is not small, and the cafe is still there. It used to be the tea house, now it's the cafe. It seats 48 people, and there is an outside terrace, so on the nice days you could actually go out there and look down over the gardens and have a tea or whatever is being served. To do the actual building of the gardens, they brought in 500 tons of limestone from the Ebel quarries in Wyerton. So it is actually really, really nice. Okay, there's a lot of good hard materials in here as well. Now, when you get there, be prepared to do a little walking because you're going to get turned around. The paths are not circular. It's more irregular. There's little side paths you can follow. You can sort of get almost lost, but you still see where you are. But you don't just go walk around the outside, walk around the bottom, and you're done. No, there's lots of little paths that you can actually do and walk through those as well. So a water bottle might be a good idea as well. So it was time to do it, and I want to encourage you all to get out and see the new rock garden. I think you'll find that on May 20th, when it officially opens to the public, that it will, of course, be very well received. Now, it's standard admittance fees to the gardens. You're going to want to see this garden itself. It's very, very well done, very, very well laid out, and pretty. And pretty is something we need more of, particularly in all our lives. I'm Bruce Zimmerman. This is the Open Line Garden Show podcast for this week.